All right. And I see a couple people out there in the chat. Welcome. Thank you guys for being patient. In case you are confused and wondering who I am, my name is Antonio Bryce. I am the creator of the comic book series Brand and its upcoming sequel, Brand Way of the Gun, which we will be launching at the end of this month. We have a returning champion here. He is amazing, and I've been reading his work for a few decades now. Punisher, Nexus Badger, wrote some Star Wars stuff. I mean, man, he's done everything. Mike Barron, who was here with us last year and promoting this same book, which unfortunately I don't believe got funded all the way. Offworlder didn't get funded all the way, but I am glad that they are trying again. And we have a treat here. I am very pleased to welcome to the channel Jordi Armengol. I hope I said that correctly. And love your art. Both of you,
thank you.
Please, welcome to the channel. It's great to have you here.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, Antonio.
Absolutely. Okay, so Mike, let me start with you. Break down what happened. How did Offworlder start, and then kind of maybe go into not being able to get the book funded or whatever.
Well, I'm not sure how Ben Henderson got in touch with me. It may have been through Chuck Dixon.
Okay.
Chuck may have recommended me, but Ben wanted his own comic company, and he had these ideas which he'd been carrying with him for his whole life. And I know how that goes because I do the same thing. I carry ideas with me through my whole life before they reach fruition and turn into a book. And his was, one of them was Offworlder, which is kind of a space-spanning series with a character. He's not a superhero, but he has superpowers. He could travel through space and time at will. And it takes place simultaneously in 6th century Scotland and in this world of space with these two warring alien races who take him back to their home planet. And the shock nearly kills him, just the cultural shock. Because imagine, if you can, a person of the 6th century, probably a Christian, who believes in a real world and has everything in order and thinks he understands it. And then he's abducted by aliens, which is a very popular theme in our modern entertainment. And that's what we're doing here. But this one's different in that he's a Scottish warlord. And they came to him while he was at war repelling a Viking invasion. And at the same time, this Egyptian princess, Sarah, who was driven out of Egypt by an Arabian invasion, which actually happened, and they burned the library at Alexandria. And she's a bit of a mystic, as the Egyptians were, and they told her, you got to sail to the edge of the world and find this guy, which is how she ends up in Scotland.
Okay. Well, Jordi, how did, like I said, love your art. The art is fantastic on this. How did you originally get brought into this project?
Well, Mike, it was Mike who brought me here. He asked to me. He came to me and he asked if I wanted to be in the project, and I said, of course, yeah. And here we are. We had worked before in a few covers. I did a few covers for a couple of his novels, and it just came through.
Hold on, let me see. I see Eric in the chat saying no sound, and other people saying I can hear everything. So I'm like, guys, if you guys are in the chat, there's 25 of you here so far, and more people are coming. Can you guys hear us? Because I can hear everybody. So it seems like I don't know if that's an individual. I don't see anybody's mics muted. Obviously want to make sure that everybody can hear. And I would also say that in the chat there, let me see. In the description of this chat, there is a link to Offworlder, or you can. Okay, yeah, everybody. Okay, sound is fine. That's why I was like, okay, that threw me off there. But let me sound is good. There you go. All right. That is perfect, because I was like, yeah, I can hear everybody. I don't understand that. But let me matter of fact, because I want to show Jordi's art is fantastic. Let me pull this. I've got the Indiegogo page pulled up, and I want to show that because, like I said, I think Jordi just did a. It's Brian Magnay. I think he was doing it last year. No, do you know Mike?
No, it's me. This time
Mike,
it's
or maybe.
me.
Oh, you're doing the colors.
Huh?
Yeah.
Okay. That's okay. So you guys have a trailer here. Let me see. I've got the sound on. It should play. Okay. Okay, hold on. Let me play this trailer and let people see what Offworlder is all about.
Throughout history, there have always been times of great calamity. And in those times of strife and conflict, a hero arises. Offworlder, a new sci-fi epic. Princess Sarah, fleeing the beautiful city of knowledge, Alexandria. The Caliphate and her brother both want her dead. She sets sail on a journey, searching for a champion. Scotland, rolling hills and seaside cliffs. Life is hard here, and Scotland breeds hard warriors. Henry Gunn is doing what every Scotsman has done for as long as he can remember, defending his people from the plundering hordes of the Norsemen. But unknown to him, fate has other plans. Offworlder, a new sci-fi epic like nothing you've seen before. Coming soon to Indiegogo and Kickstarter.
All right. There you go. Let me see. Turn this bad boy on. All right. So that is the Offworlder trailer. Let me see. But if I remember when we had you guys here last year, Mike, you and Ben were on, and isn't this character Henry like based on a relative of Ben's or no?
An ancestor.
Yeah. That's why I was like, I remember him saying that, and I just, I remember that. I was like, it's just such a cool looking story, and like I said, great art on it. And so I thought, like I said, I remember before I thought Brian Magnay was doing, he had colored Ravage Kill All Men, but Jordi, you are coloring this yourself?
Yes.
All right. Do you? I don't know your history. Tell me, how long have you been working in comics and all that kind of stuff?
Well, very briefly in comic books. I've been for many years, mainly a fan of comic books for 40 years. But professionally, I've been designing and illustrating books, covers for books, and I'm also a professional graphic designer. But comic books are my life, so I decided like 3 years ago to put my career into comics, and I've been publishing with Amigo Comics here in the USA with the Rogues. I don't know if you don't know that. It's like some Conan and Red Sonja style.
Okay.
With a little of humor, and it's a funny collection. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, hold on. Matter of fact, let me put it on mic. Let me pull it up so we can get a full screen. Oh, that's nice. Okay, that's beautiful. Is that hardcover or no?
No, it's a thick paperback.
Oh, okay.
I got a bunch of them.
Oh man, that's beautiful.
Yeah, the interiors are stunning.
So wait a minute, did you write this book, Mike? Or?
No, but I am working on a series for them.
Okay. Yeah, that looks great, man. Okay.
You should check that.
Is that on Amazon?
No, the publisher sent me these two. I bet they are on Amazon though.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've got in the description there, I've got a list called the Dollar Bin, where I've got like a bunch of different creators on there. Obviously, I have some of Mike's work on that list. You know, next is stuff Star Wars and the Punisher stuff, and just
Flash.
yeah. He's just just beautiful.
And on.
yeah. He's had when you look on Amazon and you just type his name in. Not to mention the novels, which I at some point I want to actually ask you about. Was it Florida Man?
Florida Man.
Yeah. Matter of fact, tell me about that now, because I saw you had the crazy. The guy's like with a gator jumping over. I was like, wow, what? Because it's a novel and a comic book, or what's going on?
Well, it started out as a comic book, and I would say I don't choose my stories; they choose me. Every day I'd go on the internet and I'd see Florida Man claims syringe found in rectum is not his. Florida Man leads police on 3.5-hour chase through Walmart ceiling. After my 200th story, I said, well, I got to write a story about this guy. And here's what it's about. Gary Duba's having a bad day. There's a snake in his toilet, a rabid raccoon in the yard, and his girl Crystal's in jail for getting naked at a Waffle House and licking the manager. With his best friend Floyd, Gary sets out to sell his prize Barry Bonds rookie card to raise the $500 needed for bail. But things get out of hand. Bad sex, cocaine, transvestite hookers, alligators, iguanas, serial killers. Florida Man started life as a comic book. But when Mike Barron finished the final script, he realized he had an outline for a novel. He wrote the novel and sold it within a week. I've never had anything sell so fast in my life. Here's what the critics had to say. Gary Duba might be having a bad day, but I didn't. This book was great. This is the first novel I've read by Mike Barron, and I was thoroughly entertained. This book is a crazy ride that follows the living embodiment of every Florida Man story I've ever heard, and then some. It's full of laughs, but has heart. What I enjoyed most were the completely unexpected decisions made by the main character. Blah, blah, blah. I save my notices. That's enough, though.
Well, like I said, let me hold on. Let me because got a comment from Eddie Winkle. He said, "I just backed the book. Good luck with the campaign, fellas." So thank you for supporting these creators.
Thank you.
And then let's see. Israel Garcia says, "Mike, I love your runs on Punisher. Yeah, Punisher stuff. I was like 13, man. Yeah. Matter of fact, Mike, I know the other week I told you when we were talking and." I told you, I think it was like Punisher number 9, and I read it, and you killed Microchip's son.
Yeah. I've written an 8-page Punisher story for Jordi, and he may have illustrated it by now. Now, of course, if Marvel doesn't accept it, we wouldn't be able to call it the Punisher, but we might just throw that into the book.
So wait a minute. So how does that work? Obviously, like I said, you've got a long history with them. You can just submit stories to them, or are they asking you to write for?
Nobody asked me. I did it as a framework for Jordi's artwork, but it's a good story, and Jordi was going to submit the story with his artwork.
Okay. Well, like I said, I'm always interested. I love the Punisher. At least, and then he got kind of hokey, and then Garth Ennis came in, and Garth.
I had nothing to do with the hokiness.
Yeah. No, I loved your Punisher. Your Punisher was good, and then it got they killed Frank, and they brought in another Punisher, and then
they do that with every character, don't they?
Then the Mafia had apparently faked his death and brought him back to life, and it was around the time when Spider-Man had a clone, and it just got weird. And then not to mention they've always kind of wavered and walked that line with the Punisher, because they were like, well, he's a superhero, but he's also murdering people, and
not a superhero.
And that's the thing. I always just thought Frank, I don't even think Frank is insane. Who was it? I think it was Kurt Busiek. He said that the Punisher was a serial killer, and I disagree. I don't think he's a serial killer. He's not killing out of compulsion. No, I just think it's a guy that, he's out there mowing down bad guys. You know,
He's
obviously,
kind of an anarchist.
yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't see him like, oh, you know, he's not Dexter. He doesn't have a compulsion to kill.
No,
You know,
he
it's
doesn't.
like, you know, some people have played him like, oh, the Punisher's insane. That's why he kills people. And I was like, no, he snapped when they kill his family and stuff like that. Frank Castle is completely of sound mind. I do not believe he is a serial killer. I just believe he decided you know, obviously he murdered his family and he just said, hey, I'm gonna handle some business here. I'm gonna, you know, so I appreciate it about that. Obviously it drove me crazy when I was hearing he's a serial killer. I was like, Punisher's not a serial killer, but he's also I mean, you know, he kind of lives in that kind of tweener world, because I like when they were writing like Punisher Max and stuff, where he can be a little darker and, you know, get more gritty with it and all this kind of stuff. So, oh, well, hello, is this the Mrs. Barrett? I was like, all right, well,
the boss has made a cameo.
Yeah, well, you know, I had you know, I did a stream earlier today, and I had Kanan on, and his wife came in and started messing with him. So it was kind of funny because she doesn't like to get on camera, so it's kind of strange. Yeah, but it was a fun stream with Kanan as well. So let's see the puppies. I see the puppies in the background. Yeah,
Oh,
well,
thank you, baby.
there you go. All right, but because I want to go back. I want to look at some of this art here on the Offworlder page. I think it's Jordi. Like I said, you're a talent, man. I really love your stuff, and you know,
very kind.
When right before we went on the air, you know, one of the names that, you know, I know Mike kind of came up with, he mentioned like Barry Windsor Smith, and your style is very similar to that. I think it's just beautiful, man. Yeah, look at that, man. That's fantastic. And oh yeah, man. I'm like, but you've already been, you know, you've been doing work on this. Okay, who did this?
This is from Massimiliano Beltri. He's a very talented guy too. He's Italian.
Yeah, it looks great. I was like, yeah, he's just
The alternative cover.
You didn't color that one, did you? Did you color that one, or?
Yeah, these are my colors. The ones in the video were from Brian.
Oh, okay. So Brian was. That's why I was like, okay, Brian was attached.
These are mine. This is all my stuff, and I'm lettering it too.
I love this. What is this? A temple, or is this?
That's the library at Alexandria.
Okay, so this is when you were talking about where the library is burned. Because I was like, I like the way the coloring style. I love it. It just looks great, man. It's like I like how you see the sky and the ocean and all that. Yeah, man, that's just great.
As it is in Egypt, I wanted to make a more lightful ambient, you know. When they're going to Scotland, it's a bit dark and cloudy, and I wanted to be here in Egypt more shiny and different colors.
Oh yeah. Well, you did such a great job with the lines, and you know, there's not a lot of people that can color that. Oh, look at that. That's gorgeous. That is fantastic right there. Like you look, okay, you got the lighting effects, which are just incredible. So, I mean, just solid draftsmanship on the page, because I've seen a lot. Trust me, I've been interviewing people on this channel for like almost 2 years now, and I've seen sometimes you see the panel work and it's not. I mean, you look at the panel, so this very top panel, very nice detail on the wall here. You've got the lighting effects coming in, nice shading. Oh man, that just looks gorgeous, dude. And then obviously, okay, is this a man? Yeah.
Yes, he's an assassin.
Aha. Okay.
He's trying to kill the princess that it is in the bed.
Oh, I see her. Okay. And then, okay. Yeah, man, it looks great. Just beautiful work there, man. That is. How long? When did you first decide you want to? Are you one of these guys that was drawn when they were like 4 or 5 years old, or what was up with that?
Well, and that's yeah. It's what Caledonia is Scotland. Here made a different lining. It's more cloudy, and the light effects are different than in the first page. That was Egypt. Alexandria is Egypt. I wanted to make it a little bit thicker.
Yeah, I'm like, who did the? Are you doing the lettering too, or?
Yes, I'm doing.
Oh, you're doing everything. You just,
yeah.
Okay. All right. So it looks like, oh man, I like this third panel here where you got the axe.
The axe, yeah.
And
I like a lot the reflections in the axe. I think that was nice.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
favorite.
I mean, it looks great. I think it looks.
Hey, can I invite people into this StreamYard?
No.
Okay.
Who's coming?
Nobody. Nobody.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Don't bring anybody in because
right.
You never know. Well, let me see. Hold on. Let me go back. All right. So you got the nice lettering here. Ooh, was that like Stonehenge or something?
Yeah. So a little bit like that.
Okay. Yeah, nice. Oh, man, just very interesting style. I think it really suits the story. And then, yeah, man, this is beautiful. And I guess this is before the aliens abduct him, or?
Yeah. It's right before. Well, Mike, if you want to.
Oh yeah, this is great. The horseback. Man, I love this style. This is beautiful work. Jordi, where are you from?
I'm from Barcelona.
Barcelona.
In Spain, yeah.
Okay. Perhaps you know Ibai Canales. I don't know if he's been on my channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know her personally, but I know who she is, yeah.
Is actually a gentleman, but he's been here. He lives in Spain. That's why I was like, I know he does art and he does like martial arts and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, he's done a couple books, Iron Sights and Iron Sights 2, and they did pretty good. Over $200 some odd $1,000. He did really good. Man, he's great. But look, I love like this bottom panel here with this woman. That's an interesting. I just like the way the lighting is on the hair, real thin. Man, that's great. That just looks great. How long does it take you to do one of these? Like if you set out and you're like, okay, I got to do page. How many pages do you do a week, or how long does it take you to do one of these?
I can do drawing, penciling and inking about 2 or 3, depending on the backgrounds that I have to draw. But with this quality, about 2 pages a week I can do, and usually it takes half a day or at last 1 day to color it. Yeah, it's usually half a day.
Yeah, there's a lot of detail in here, man. Jesus.
Once I have settled the colors that I will use, it's easy to work.
And this is all digital. All this from pencil. Yeah, man, that's great. I was like, boy, I wish you had some traditional pages to sell. Because
no, sometimes I do some sketches. I'm always with my pencil at hand. But when everybody's working digital, you have to be on the time, on the schedule. If people is working in digital, you have to have their speed, working. So yeah, man, this looks great. And I was like, yeah, you did a really good job on these. Thank you very much.
And Mike, you said this is going to be what, 48 pages?
Yes.
Okay.
56. The book will be 66, 56. Well, the story is 49.
Yeah, we're going to fill the rest up with poetry.
Yeah. With poetry.
No, I'm kidding. We have a bunch of pinups in the works.
You scare me, Mike.
Yeah, so I just this looks it looks really good, man. He did a great job. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Mike Barron's. He just I love the way he tells the story and everything, which is
yes, the story is amazing. When you have the chance to read it, you're really gonna enjoy it, because Mike he's a very talented and fine writer, and the story here is one of the best I've read from him. And I was a fan when he was doing Nexus and Punisher and like this. Not much stories.
I'll be visiting Steve Rude later this week, and we'll do a live broadcast on Facebook.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was like, I would love to. Yeah, I would love to talk to Steve too, man. So if you ever, you can ever talk him into coming on here, I would love to.
He'd be happy to do it.
Oh well, maybe we can work that out. That would be awesome. I would love to host you guys. Yes, Steve is a legend as well, and seen a bunch of his stuff. And matter of fact, Mike, you are working on so many projects, including I hear including one for myself. Oh my god, hold on, let me pull up, let me get Jordi on the screen, let me get it.
I'm a huge fan.
Oh yeah, man, it's great stuff, man. Yeah, then Nexus, people are still talking about Nexus. And matter of fact, Mike, how many, you did some stuff over at Dark Horse, how much stuff did you work on at Dark Horse?
Well, we did the numbering, and I think we were in the 120, 130 individual issues range, not including miniseries like The Sisters and GodCon. And there will be new Nexus next month. In fact, Dark Horse is publishing the newspaper strips, which is something the dude cooked up, and he asked me to write, and I did write them. But he rewrote them. So if it doesn't sound like me, that's why. But they're still worth getting.
Well, because one thing I'm very curious about how Offworlder is, because I had asked Mike to possibly collaborate with me on a project that I kind of came up with the idea about 4 or 5 years ago. It's called Brand Children of Man, and I sent him an email, and he seemed like he was interested. And next thing I know, the stuff started coming. He does not waste time. He starts, all right, let me get an outline, and he just starts going. And I was just like, oh man, I am really, he sent me
It got you to write a big outline.
Yeah. I was just, I definitely, the juices got me, but I've been so busy working on the script for Way of the Gun, and so I was just like, I would love to get a legend in here, to collaborate, because I've got so many brand stories. I've got such a large cast that I want to take some of those characters and do offshoot books and everything. And this story, Children of Man, was one that I've been wanting to do for a while, and I'm very, excited to when you send me stuff, I'm very excited, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you come up with, because I know it's all cool. And,
Samuel Fuller says, if it doesn't give you a hard on in the first 5 pages, throw it in the garbage.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. But I just I don't know everything you write so many different. I mean, you can write. It seems like you can write anything. I don't know if you've ever.
You're very kind, but up until 10 years ago, I couldn't write novels. It took me 30 years to learn how to write a novel because I'm a slow learner. But when I got it, I got it.
Yeah, because I was like, you got a couple. It's like 3 or 4 at least that I've seen on Amazon. I was like, I guess when you finally got it down, you just went crazy and just started typing.
I published 9 novels last year.
Last year?
Yeah. Now, some of them were republished. I didn't write 9
Okay.
novels in a year.
I was
I
like,
can write 3 to 4 novels a year, but I got a new publisher, a terrific publisher. They're called Wolfpack. And they have all my biker novels, and they have Florida Man. The biker novels are a series of crime thrillers featuring a reformed motorcycle hoodlum who went to prison and found God in prison and comes out and tries to turn his life around. If you like Jack Reacher or Philip Marlowe, it's that type of story, except my character's unique in that he's set in the world of bikes. But it's not all about biker gangs. There's some of that, but a lot of it is he's just trying to get the job done, usually in strange waters. Like one book is about Not Fade Away, where he has to find the ownership of a famous song that an insurance company is using. And he ends up in Hollywood playing with these Hollywood guys who are just, something he's not used to. It's a fish out of water story.
Yeah, well, okay, because I have heard that you're gonna you got the novel of Florida Man, but you're gonna do a comic as well.
That's right.
Okay, so what are your plans for that?
Well, Todd Mulrooney is the artist. We already have some pages from him.
Okay.
And a guy named Chris Brawley is going to run the Kickstarter, and Chris has a fulfillment company. Yeah.
Okay.
We're already one step ahead of the game, but we'll probably be announcing that next month.
Okay. And that was like, because every time I saw that guy with riding the gator and he's got his hand, I was like, that looks like a wild ride right there. Is it just going to be one book or is it going to be a couple?
Five.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. And then
we can do it if we can do it.
Well, yeah, it's always that's the thing. You gotta get the people in there to support and all, especially with this crowdfunding thing. So that is a big deal. But when I was talking about earlier, it just seems like when I look at your comic book career, you're able to do so many different. I'm like, you don't just, you're not, some people get typecast as like, okay, this guy can do like military stuff, or looks like you can write, a variety of characters. And
thank you.
And that's what but like I said, I've enjoyed your work, and just really. Do you feel comfortable in a story like Offworlder, because it just seems different than other things?
Of course. I did with Offworlder what I do with any project is, and you've seen it, I work up a detailed outline.
Yes.
And the outline is designed to entertain in and of itself. I don't want to waste people's time. I don't want an outline that's difficult to follow or hard to read. And I have fun doing it. And once I have an outline, then I'll proceed to the individual issues. But whatever it is, I'm going to research the hell out of it because I want it to be authentic. My goal in everything I write is to grab the reader by the throat and drag him into the narrative to the exclusion of all else.
Well, matter of fact, because I have people asking me questions, and I was like, I'm not, like I said, I've been writing, I've been a blogger and stuff for like last 20 years and stuff. When I get guys like yourself that I know are actually, well-published writers and stuff, like, go into like, how do you set up your story structure? Because I, like I said, you sent me, ideas for outlining this kind of thing. I know, kind of now I'm starting to see how you work, and it's very efficient. But like, okay, I'm a brand new writer. I'm coming to Mike Barron and I'm asking for advice. How do you start me?
Well, the first lesson is somebody's going to ask you, what is your story about? And when that comes, you have to be prepared. You can't hem and haw. And that's why you work on it ahead of time. You write something such as Gary Dubas having a bad day. There's a snake in his toilet, a rabid raccoon in the yard, and his girl Crystal's in jail for getting naked at a Waffle Hut and licking the manager. But some are more detailed than that. And I always work up a detailed explanation of the story. That's the first thing I do. So that when somebody says, what's your story about? I'm ready. And it's designed to make them want to read the story. But I usually start in a notepad, just like this. That's what I use.
You still actually write on paper?
I do, and I start making notes often weeks before I type anything. Anything and everything pertaining to the story, who the characters are, the milieu, plot points. And when I have enough of those, enough that I have all these parts, and surely there are enough parts in there to assemble a whole car, you know, and that's when I start to work up the outline.
Okay, because I don't. Do you? Because what someone told me, they said, okay, start at the end and write back. I don't know. That doesn't work for me. I like it to go forward. That's just me, but it seemed to work for the other person. You know, start at the end and then come back. You know, it's like I don't know. You know, like I said, every writer has a different method, but I have to go for everything is very linear and it's forward to me. That is,
I like to write the same way myself. There's nothing wrong with starting with the ending. When your story is just in the vision of an apocalyptic smoking crater where New York City used to be, and that's where you want to end up. Well, then you go to work on how you got there, and that's when you retreat with your notepad and start making notes. So there's nothing wrong with that method, but I usually work off either a very powerful idea or a very powerful character. I wanted to write modern noir, which is where biker came from. And I realized I had a unique setting. Nobody's really done this. I mean, there are tons of biker novels out there. Most of them are bodice rippers written by women, and they show a naked, tatted guy sweating on the cover, always, you know, with some woman admiring him from afar. Sometimes she's on the bike, but there are thousands of those books. I'm in a group with them. I love them, you know, because they've been very supportive, but my books aren't like that. They're hard-boiled crime. There's romance, there's a little humor, but mostly there's suspense.
Have you done any kind of television writing, or because like you know, when you talk about the biker stuff, I was like, would you be up for writing like Sons of Anarchy or Mayans type stories?
Well, first of all, I got to say, I wrote Biker before Sons of Anarchy ever went on the air, but I loved Sons of Anarchy, and I've seen every episode. I tried to watch the Mayans. I gave them 2 seasons. I struggled with it. They just didn't have it.
Yeah, it's something. Okay, yeah, because we're on the same page. I love Sons of Anarchy. Watched every episode. Mayans, it feels like something's not quite there.
It feels like they didn't really care, that they're just going through the motions.
Well, they let the creator. I know they fired him after the first season. I know the guy that created Sons of Anarchy,
Kurt Sutter.
Yeah, he got fired. He I guess he pissed off one of the FX executives, and they let him go. But they get to keep the show. I guess they just gave him a cash settlement, and then they're like, "Yeah, we're done with you." So I'm always curious how the television. Have you done any kind of television work?
Nope.
Really? That's shocking to me, because I was like, I mean, ooh, you've been writing for. I was like I said, the first time I read some of your stuff I was like 13 when the first time I read any Mike Barron stuff, and I'm you know just a few weeks away from being 45 now. So you got me when I was young, and I got hooked on it. So, but matter of fact, okay, so you're a young Mike Barron. And I guess did you take some kind of writing? Did you get some kind of writing degree, or did you just start writing?
No, and I wish I had studied it more carefully. When I went to the University of Wisconsin, my first job out of college was smoking dope for the government.
Okay.
I moved to Boston. I wanted to be a journalist, and there was an ad in the Boston Phoenix saying volunteers wanted for marijuana study, National Institute of Mental Health with Harvard, and a bunch of us showed up, people with nothing better to do, and we lived on a hospital ward for a month, and we smoked government dope every day, and we took tests all day.
Oh, wow.
It was just like college.
Yeah, okay.
And when I got out, I wrote that up, and that's how I broke into journalism.
So how do you go? Okay, so you're in journalism, because we had Ann Nacini here, and it sounded like she had a journalism background, and so it's always shocking to me, you know. And I know Steve Englehart told me he got out the military, and then Neil Adams.
I didn't know Steve was a veteran.
Yeah, he got out the military, and I'm pretty sure that's the way he told me. But the interview's up on my channel. But I'm just like, yeah, he got out of the military. He was trying to, you know, maybe break into the business a little bit. Neil Adams gave him, you know, let him do some finishes or something, and made sure he got a published credit, and then that started him in the business. You know, as an artist, though, you know, which shocked me. I didn't realize that Steve Englehart had been an artist.
Me either.
So yeah, he got some published credits as an artist, and then I guess something happened and he got to write something. So I don't know, where did you get your first job in the comic book industry?
I was working at an insurance company, and I got a phone call from an editor who said, "There's some guy here trying to sell us his art, and he draws just like you." So it was Steve Root. I met him on the steps of the Union, and I looked at his portfolio, and I stopped drawing. And he said, "I want to do comics." And I said, "Well, I want to do comics too." And we were lucky because we were in the right place at the right time. I was the home of Capital City Distribution, the second largest comic book distributor in the world. And they were interested in publishing. They wanted to publish their own comics. So we did up the first 12 pages of Nexus and showed it to them. And they said, "Yeah, let's have some more."
Oh, wow. That's incredible. It's like, about how long ago was that? How long?
1982.
Okay. So when did you, because first thing I started seeing you on, I started seeing ads for a book called Badger. I don't know, when did that happen? When did
that came out the following year?
Okay.
Yeah, I was working with Jeff Butler, and he said, "Well, I want to do a story about druids." So I gave him this 10-page druid story, and then we showed it to the boys, and they said, we don't want druids. We want a costume superhero. And Jeff says, "Well, I'm not wasting these pages." So well, I worked that onto the front of the first Badger story, and that's where Ham came from.
Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, I've got some Badger collected stuff on my Amazon list. Yes, like, because I wanted to make sure, that I had a very thorough, you know, body of your work, which is, like I said, is very vast. And so, okay, so you're doing all this, but it sounds like it's indie work. So how do you get to Marvel or DC or?
Well, people were seeing those comics because they was just so good. And then, but Capital didn't know how to run a ship. They said, we're going to sell these characters, and they sold them to First Comics. And First had a much better reach than Capital did. Even though Capital was the distributor, First Comics were getting around, and people saw those. And Carl Potts had seen my Badger, and that's why he asked me to write the Punisher. And Mike Gold had seen Nexus, and he asked me to write the Flash.
So you were freelance. You were writing both at the same time, or no?
I think I was. I wrote the Punisher a lot longer than I wrote Flash.
Oh yeah, yeah. You've got a very nice collected volumes on. Yeah, funny. How many? I don't know how many issues. I know I've read probably the first 15, or I know like there's the volumes were in like five issue sets or whatever, the little trade paperbacks. But obviously, I was buying some of that stuff as a kid, which I'm kind of curious that there was still kind of the Marvel with the Comics Authority or whatever, which it's a load of crap. But like I don't know if I was too young to read Punisher when I was 13, but I just walked it up to the counter and bought it. And like I said, I was mesmerized, especially like the first issue that I read of yours. First of all, I love the story, and then Microchip's son got killed at the end, and then Frank was so. One thing that really it stayed with me all these years, like 30 years later, when he brought him home, he just brought him in the body bag, and there wasn't no, "Hey man, I'm sorry," any of this kind of stuff. This is just the way it was.
Frank's cold.
I was like, he wasn't like, "Hey man, let me get you a beer. Let's drink some stuff. I'm sorry." He just He just brought him home in a body bag, and that was just the way it was. Oh, you got him. Hold on, let me get Well, yeah, this stuff is great, man. Yeah, like I said, Mike could teach a class if not already. His Punisher was so well written, and but like I said, Frank was cold. It really, he just kind of dropped the body bag off and walked away, and I was like, and then I needed to read something a little softer, like some Spider-Man, and it just threw me off. But you really great, and like I said, I still think about that. When I'm plotting my stories, I want that moment when Frank brings Microchip home, Microchip Jr., I guess, home in the body bag, and I want that. Yeah. Oh yeah. This is
number one.
Yeah, like I said, your Punisher, man, it was incredible. That was like, and he was so. I remember I used to look in the back of the Wizard magazine, and those issues would be worth $70-$80 or whatever. It's like now, I was like, oh my god, $70 for the Punisher, because there was a black and white Punisher. I don't know if you I don't know if you wrote on that. There was like a black and white Punisher thing.
I may have contributed.
Yeah, and but I just loved it. It's like your career is amazing. It's just it's a thrill, to have you here. And I know Offworlder really just looks incredible, man. I'm glad that you guys decided to give this another go, because I was, I really, really liked Ben Henderson when he was on the first one, and he's a buddy. And I was sad when it didn't get funded. And then a couple months ago, I started hearing him say, he's like, oh no, there's a good chance that we might publish somewhere else, or it's gonna go to somebody. He said, I want it to go to somebody. He said, I think it's a good story. I think Mike did a good job, and I'd like to see the story get published. So I'm happy that you guys stuck with it. And let me see where we are, because like I said, a couple people said they backed it since we went live here. So let me see. Let me see where the book is. And oh my, okay. So you are now you are at $29.50. You are now at $3,045 on Indiegogo. And
that's great. Thanks,
man.
folks.
Yeah,
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Yeah, and you got 85 backers, 27 days left. You're at 15% to go. I'm obviously, if you just keep, one thing I know from my experiences with crowdfunding, you got to keep hitting it. You got to keep hitting these shows and keep hitting all these different streams and everything. And but let me see. Okay, so Jordi, you have been working on this for a little while, obviously. And how many completed pages are you? Because it's 48-page story. How many completed pages do you have?
We have 25 finished in pencil and inking. And from these 25, we have 7 finished with colors and lettering.
Okay, cool.
And there are 24 to go. So we think that in November it will be able to be sent to everyone, to every customer, just to read it. And if we can do it before, I think that mainly depends on me, on my speed finishing the stuff. But I think that in November will be a good time, if not before.
Okay, and I'm assuming just the way how fast you write stuff, is the script fully completed, or are you just making?
No, it's not. I stopped after 2 scripts.
You got 2 scripts already.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first volume is finished. Yeah.
I find that when I go back and look at scripts, I invariably make changes. And so I held off on writing those. And when it comes time, I'll read the first 2 scripts and then I'll proceed.
Yeah, it's crazy because I know I've sent Kanan at least 3 or 4 revisions on Way of the Gun, and I was like, throw that other script out. I'm about to send you something else, and I'll know exactly where he is as far as the pages because we go over the layouts and everything when he does it, and then so I was like, okay. So that's pretty much set in stone, but after like page 16, I can rip the script up and just go in another direction. And sometimes I do that because I know how I want to end it, but I was like, oh, I keep coming up with it. When I'm in the zone, when I'm in the creation mode, then I just focus and lock in on it. And then all of a sudden the characters become real to me and I see them and I hear them. I'm sitting down eating breakfast with them and all the ideas just come in my head. So that's, it's interesting. Like when you started sending me stuff, I just started noticing. I was like, man, he's kind of like me. You just like it just free flow. Matter of fact, I remember when we talked on the phone and everything, and it sounded like you were asking me questions, and it sounded like I heard you typing, like you were taking notes or something.
Well, I'm not sure that's true, but the first thing I did was research the life of Charles Dickens and then get a book on Victorian England.
Well, there you go. I think I am very curious to see how you're going to do Children of Man because I think it's a really cool idea, and I'm just a big fan of your work, and obviously Jordi is sir, you are a talent. I have really. I remember when I saw your art last year, I was just really blown away by it, and I just really think I'm looking forward to seeing you guys get funded, and then man, get these books out here to these backers.
Thank you, Antonio.
Thank you.
Whew. Well, guys, all right. I think we have, like I said, Jordi actually stayed up very late.
Yeah.
so we can.
Don't worry.
I was just thrilled to have him on as well. It's like I was excited to get Mike, but I was like, man, if we could get Jordi, because like I said, I've been looking at your stuff and I really wanted to get you on as well. So thank you. Like I said, I know it's very late. I know it's very late where you are, and the fact that you took the time out to come on today, it's a thrill to actually meet you. I've been an admirer of your work for some time now. And obviously the great Mike Barron, how do people reach out to you guys? Mike, if someone wants to follow you on social media or any of that kind of stuff, how do they find you?
I'm at Bloody Red Baron on Twitter. I'm Mike Barron on Facebook. And my website is bloodyredbaron.com.
Oh,
and also, if you go to Amazon, just type in Mike Barron, all my stuff comes up.
And that is true, because I can assure you it's a long list. And what about you, Jordi? How do people, because I know I've got you on Twitter and we're friends on Facebook. How do people find you?
See, on Twitter, I am Jordi Armengol C. And in Facebook, I'm Jordi Armengol. And on Instagram, I'm the Jordi Armengol.
All right. Well, guys, we're gonna wrap this one up. Offworlder looks incredible. I thank everybody that backed it here today. And those of you that will watch this stream later, we're streaming across multiple platforms, right? We're streaming on Facebook, we're streaming on Periscope right now, Twitch, and of course on this YouTube channel. And they're all at Akari Press. Thank you guys for tuning in, not only for this stream, but for our earlier stream with Kanan. And I'm going to have Rob Arnold on tomorrow. He's going to be talking about Replicator. We've got cool stream with Cecil on Sunday. We're going to talk about his book, Cash Grab. All that stuff. As always, please like, subscribe. Thank you guys so much. This has been a pleasure. Mike Barrett, Jordi Armengol, back Offworlder, guys. I'm out.